Alarm needs to be replaced.
Shoot.
Right when we put the right hub bearing on, I was like, okay, we're good. And then my dad was like, make sure to check the seatings, the boots, and everything. Make sure everything looks good. And I looked at the
tie rods. You start.
Yeah, tie rods. So I replaced those last year.
Okay, you got an alignment.
And I don't put any mileage on the house is right there. So Dad's like, once you get all that fixed, you'll be good for a while.
We do need a light. We need a light over there. Over us, Shane.
I'll drop it down.
Drop it to the floor, bro. Drop it to the floor.
Oh, yeah, you pro now, Shane.
That's probably about.
How you turn these little things on?
Bring it a little bit closer.
What's the battery on that, Q?
37.
The bars on it has how many
2.
two.
It says
Okay.
37%.
Oh, it does. Okay, you can bring down that percentage to like 1.
Oh, that's the brightness.
Mhm.
Ah,
So if you
okay.
bring
That
it
ain't
down to
that ain't
1.
the percentage.
1 should still be bright enough. If you do 3, 4, 5, it still lasts an hour at least.
Oh, let me see what it just look like on 10.
Okay. 10 should last at least an hour.
From the camera's point of view.
It probably needs to be on this side of us because I think Matt might be creating a shadow this way. Not that I know anything about lighting.
Yeah, behind
Oh no,
What was that,
Shane.
Jason?
Yeah, that is kind of.
you. Oh yeah. What is
I
it?
wonder if I won't stick to that. It would stick
No, I
to.
won't stick to that.
Be careful of that, Shane. Get your hand close to that metal sharp.
Oh, okay.
Like this.
You know what we almost need is a couple of clamp lights like that right there on the
But then that'll be
joist.
blinding damn Kevin.
Oh no, I'm good.
Let's see.
As long as y'all are good.
That's not so bad. It's a little bit
That's
distracting.
not in your eye. That's in your eye.
A little bit, but it's not
Little-
too bad.
Right there is perfect.
That's probably
How that look? How that is
That's
that in
fine.
your eye? Is that
Either
even
way,
worse?
it doesn't make any difference between that and that. As long as I don't look straight at it, once I get used to it being over there, it'll be all right. This one was just
That
like
was
right,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
coming right there at me, but that's not as bad. Because I'll mostly be looking at you or looking over at Kevin.
I try to do some more videos from my Instagram. So I had that light wrapped around this.
How's
Trying
that
to
look
use
on the
this
camera like that? Is that enough light?
It lights it up. It's better than without
All right,
having
look
it.
at it like that, and then let me put it up on top and see if there's a difference.
Right there is good.
Is it good? I'm okay
Yeah.
with that. That doesn't
As long as
bother
it
me.
don't
If
bother
you. Is that gonna bother you sitting
want-
there?
Turn it down some more.
I'm okay just like it was, whatever's best on camera. I mean, at some point, we got to figure out what's best for the camera, and then we need to adapt to it. It's like, okay, I can't just be a,
Yeah,
You
because
know.
these movie sets, they have some bright lights.
what am I, Kanye? Say what's what?
And that's not affecting you, Kevin? There?
No. Eyes wise?
Okay.
No, it's good, bro. I'm good.
Oh, shit.
My family would always get on me about not having lights on. As a little kid, I never really liked having.
Really?
Yep. My room usually the lights were usually off. Did it come out?
I don't fuck so much.
That's weird. It came out like that.
Oh, shit.
Uh-oh.
What I done? I done broke something.
It made.
Nah, I'm sure.
I don't think you broke that easy. It probably just has to be tight.
Ah, I get it. I see what needs to be. I see what needs to happen. Let me spin this a little bit. Got to spin this in.
I don't know if I finished that sentence on the movie scoring. But yeah, it's teaching kids.
Oh yeah, I don't know. We probably got way off topic from that. We started talking
So
about.
now we're getting into Niran's age, from 13 to 16. I can see myself having a lot more fun
Yeah.
teaching kids because they know the direction. There's certain things they can do that, not that 5, 6-year-olds can't do it, but maturity is there.
But they can, they're going to understand more. And
Another exciting thing, it just happened very organically. On Saturday, I got something in my email to pitch to Dyson for a commercial.
Oh,
Dyson
yeah?
commercial. And I'm sitting there. I only had like 3 hours to send it in, of course. They needed it yesterday.
Damn, you always up against it there, huh?
Yeah. But then LeBron's practicing in there for about 3 hours. And he makes something, we take a lunch break. And I tell him what I have going on. I describe the scene. He's like, oh, that almost sounds like what I was just making. So then we decide to record it. So he put the microphone like close to the saxophone. We recorded. And that's the first thing we submitted as a father-son
Oh, that's cool.
music.
That's
duo.
cool.
So now I want that to get placed more than
Yeah.
anything
Oh
else.
yeah, for sure. You gonna give him part of the royalties?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I want
I mean,
to
You got free
Yeah,
room and board,
part of
son.
the- yeah, that is part of the
You know,
war.
I got you.
I need to allow. Okay, I allow you to live in this bud.
Yeah.
Okay.
I gave you the resources to,
No, yeah, I would. That would be amazing.
But you got to give them some kind of a reward, otherwise,
Yeah.
they got to get that dopamine hit too.
Yeah, I want to set them up a royalty account.
Okay.
So before you're 18, you can set it up for.
That's perfect right there,
I can
Is that
set it up
good?
for him.
Yeah, I'm okay
to be
with
the custodian of the account,
Okay.
and then once he turns 18, he can manage it himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that would be amazing, Shane.
Mm-hmm. That'd be wild.
Test.
He may surpass
Me,
anything you've done.
Yeah,
You know,
that would be, man. I would
You got
not.
a
I would be
Your
on
legacy-
the floor.
got a
your legacy
28,
might not
25
be
year head start.
your work per se. It may be the
Yes.
work that
That would be amazing.
Drop it to the floor.
If he has enjoyment in doing it, that would be.
That's the other thing. It's like, how do you, how hard do you push your kid
Ooh,
to be great?
that's a good topic to discuss. Over there.
Mm-hmm.
We should be
I think I
alive
got an
before
answer
that.
for it. I was just talking about this yesterday. It's in that realm.
Of what?
That realm of like how we didn't word it as how hard do you push your kids. It was more of a I'm gonna do better with these set of boys than I did with my first set of boys.
Mm-hmm. That's got to be
But
the goal.
it basically comes down to that.
Yeah.
How hard do you want to push them, or how much do you want them to know, or how much do you want them to learn from you? Do I force my kids to go out in the garage when I'm changing the tire or changing the oil on the car or changing brakes? Or do I let them stay in the house? And play
Now I
video
kind of
games?
wish my dad forced me more.
With my first kid, I let him stay in the house and play video games.
I think you force them to a point.
Cause that if I think about now back, how much I should have paid attention even more.
Because you really doing them a disservice when you don't.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
You really are,
If
long
you just,
term.
If you just let them live a life of leisure.
Yep.
Then
And
they
that's
get,
what I did with my first son.
Yeah, let him do whatever.
Let him do whatever. I'm out here doing something in the garage. Because I can see he wasn't really interested. So that's why I didn't really press it on him. I'm going to press it on my kids now, whether they're interested or not.
I think
Come out here, hand me that fucking screwdriver.
Yeah.
Hand me
sometimes
that damn box
sometimes you
wrench.
just have to teach them the value of work in and of itself.
Mhm.
Like, okay, you don't have to do what I do, but I'm going to teach you. I'm going to make you do this because it's going to teach you the discipline to do something.
Right.
If your interest goes in another direction, eventually, okay, then it does. But
You
you're
might
gonna,
hate it right now.
But you're going to remember the lessons that you learned. Like maybe you grew up and you never want to work on a car again, but you're going to remember the work ethic you were taught by. Sometimes you got to do shit you don't want to do.
Mhm.
That's the way it goes. But I think about that with Madeline. Like, I would love for Madeline to be a great disc golfer. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? So, if I would like for that to be the goal, I'm like, okay, well, how do I pique her interest in it? How do I make, how do I try to help her? I don't know how to say it right. Like, I don't want to force her to go out and take putting practice, but I take her to the course with me. And she's gotten now where she'll go get a disc out of my bag and get up on the tee pad and throw it.
So she's showing some interest
Well,
just by seeing.
yeah, I
You-
think right now she just, they want to copy you. They want to do whatever you do. You know what I'm saying? She has interest in understanding why she catches me in the bathroom peeing too. She's like, what the hell you doing, Dad? And I'm like, God, dang,
You stand up.
Yeah. But right now she just wants to copy anything.
Right,
You
but
know, if I'm doing anything, she wants to come help.
I really do think now that I got a grown kid
Mm.
and I have two little boys.
Mhm.
I got my grown son and two little boys. I think I really did my oldest a disservice by not forcing him in the garage when I was doing shit or outside, doing things that you need to learn, or
Right.
it will be good to know as you get older.
Be good to know. Yeah.
Whether you're interested or not, you can say, "Man, my dad showed me that. I know this. Oh, I know exactly what your problem is."
Mm-hmm. And then again, you can apply those same lessons to something that maybe you do have interest in, but you don't want to. There's always a certain level of, no matter how much you like something, at some point it becomes a grind, and you got to know how to grind.
Oh, we discussed that the other day.
We discussed that the other day.
The hustle versus the grind.
I was just thinking I'll probably bring that up in this.
You don't want to talk about it right now?
Oh no, we can't, because I think we could go forever. But
hustle versus grind.
when we, the thing I remember from our conversation, I don't remember which one of us said it, but this is when the hustle turns into a grind.
Yeah, or you said, "Man, yeah, I'm grinding it out" or something. And I was like, well, that's when the grind becomes, the hustle becomes the grind.
The hustle becomes the grind. Yep.
Depending on how you're doing, or I guess your results. Is it depicted upon results?
Sometimes, like if you go to a show and it rains like crazy, that's your hustle.
Mm-hmm.
If you do 5 weekends in a row that you get rained on, like I have,
I'm in the grind.
now it's a grind.
Yeah.
It's a grind. I'm gonna be honest with you, it was a grind for me to come downtown today.
The meat grinder.
The meat grinder.
You in the meat grinder.
And sometimes you're in the meat grinder.
I guess that kind of plays back to when we talked about discipline last week.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be disciplined enough to continue?
To do it even when it's hard.
Even when it's hard.
Even
Even if you're not seeing the results.
Even when you really don't want to.
Or you don't want to.
But that's kind of like what we're doing here. As far as, now, I think we're definitely seeing results. They're not financial. But when I say results, I'm not even talking about our growth in subscribers and downloads, and we've definitely seen a steady increase in the measurable matrix of this podcast. But there are immeasurable matrix of this podcast that nobody but the three of us understands, because we're the only ones here doing it. But I'll give a great example.
Okay.
I'm the last 5 weeks. It's no secret. It's been a grind for me.
Right.
The results have not been there. I show up at shows, rained out, closed because of rain. It's been a tough month. Not just financially, but mentally. When you work that hard and you don't see the results, and you got to keep going, because like you and I talked about, eventually you're going to hit a home run.
Right.
You may strike out 20 times in a row, but eventually, if you keep going and keep working, and you have a successful platform. But sometimes that success isn't immediate. It comes on the overall. Maybe the next show I go, I work one and I knock it out of the park. I don't know. But it's been a struggle for me to maintain my mental motivation over the last month or so. And I'll be honest with you, I felt that way coming today. There was a part in the back of my brain that said, I'm going to call them and tell them I ain't showing up tonight.
Oh, man.
I'm just, I'm not going to do it.
I would have mentally cussed you.
You should have mentally come to my house and beat my mentally ass. That's what you should have done if I'd have done that stuff.
Your rule today,
but that's one of the things that having a community, and this is a very small community, but the three of us being here is a community. If I were doing this by myself, I might not have recorded a podcast tonight.
Yep.
But I don't want to let you down.
Right.
This is not just about me.
And vice versa. Right.
This is not just about me.
Right.
This is about us, and it's about something we're doing. And then also, I knew that once we started talking, it was going to be better. I didn't necessarily want to, I had to make a mental choice to come down here tonight. But I knew that once I did, things were going to be better.
Correct.
I knew it was going to be a positive thing for my mental outlook, my mental health, if you were. And I'm old enough to know that sometimes you power through what you don't necessarily want to do because you know the results are going to be better.
Well, I'm glad you didn't cancel.
I'm glad I didn't cancel too.
You called
because
out.
I feel a million times better now. You know what?
Took PTO today. I'm glad you didn't take that PTO.
And I'll say this, I showed up at PTO.
Old to you.
We ain't got no PTO no
Paid
more.
time off. Yeah, ain't no paid
PTO.
time. We make our own PTO.
But you know what? I showed up at the coffee shop tonight. Still kind of in a funk mood.
Okay.
Not even kind of. I only played 9 holes of disc golf today. I quit after 9 holes. I was throwing so bad. I'm gonna be honest with you. I bogeyed 8 holes straight. And I'm like, I ain't fixing to put my twist up. Now on the 9th hole, got the birdie. I'm like, come on, man. But I had told myself, okay, you're throwing like crap. but you're going to at least finish 9 holes. I don't care if you hit every tree in the park. You're going to finish the 9 holes. And I did, and on the 9th hole, I got the birdie, which should have given me a bit of a dopamine rush, but not really.
Okay.
So I showed up at the coffee shop, still in that funk.
Okay.
I'm polite to the ladies, but that's all, just polite.
Uh-huh.
Went in, ordered my thing, and as I'm ordering, Hunter took my order. And as I'm ordering my order, she said, how you doing today? You know, as she does, she's super friendly. And I said something about I'm struggling. She said, oh, I'm sorry, but you know, just life. I'm not fixing to, get into a big old thing. I'm not gonna be Debbie Downer to the very sweet
weeds
young
with her.
little,
Okay.
yeah. So she let it go. Then, she said, okay, well, Then she comes out with my coffee and she sets it down and she looks me dead in the eye where I can tell she's giving me her attention for that moment. And she says, I really hope your month gets better.
Ooh.
Made a big difference.
The month just started.
That's what I told her.
She said that on the 2nd, not the 31st.
Yeah, but
or
that's what I
15th,
told her. I said it's a new month now.
It's a new
It's
month.
a new month now.
Yep.
But
And
just
I
those
hope
words
your
of
month gets
encouragement
better.
from somebody that's young enough to be younger than my kids.
She's young enough to be my daughter.
For sure, young enough to be your daughter. And
she's very wise, man.
She is very
I
wise.
enjoy talking to her.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, man, damn, this girl got a lot of sense.
And you never know until you start talking to somebody.
You start talking to her.
And to look at Hunter, she looks very young.
Well, she is.
She is very young, yeah, obviously. But she, as a 53-year-old man, I could say, this kid doesn't have any words of wisdom to give me. I got nothing to learn from her.
I gained something from her.
I gained something too. It would be such a, it would be a wrong to myself if I didn't give her an opportunity.
Based on her age.
Yeah, just because of her age or
because of her age, you can't tell me nothing.
You can. She told me something.
How many old people get into that though?
I think that's a real problem
with the youth.
I think that's a real problem.
What you got to tell me? You still wet behind the ears.
When I was
still pooping green.
Still pooping green.
Yeah. You never heard that with the old folks? You say you still pooping green.
Pooping green.
Still wet behind your
I've heard wet behind the ears. Yeah.
Your breath smell like Similac.
Your
breath still smell like Similac. The old people have all the funny ass sayings. Say when you're young, those sayings really try to discredit you and disqualify you just because of your youth.
I agree. You ever heard the saying, children should be seen and not heard?
Seen and not heard.
That's so stupid.
That is so stupid.
I think that's so
that's
stupid.
The stupidest thing. I never said that bullshit to neither of my kids.
No, I never said that to
be
mine.
Seen, not heard.
But I was told that over and over growing up. Children should be seen and not heard.
And you can tell Hunter, her parents did a great job with her. That's why I was like, your parents.
It's grown-ups talking.
It's grown-ups talking.
Okay, but
you don't talk when grown folks talking.
I think that's wrong.
You don't talk when grown folks talk.
You should be respectful.
Definitely. Don't butt in.
Don't butt in, for sure.
Be respectful.
And understand that you don't have the knowledge that the grown folks have. But if you're never allowed to join the conversation, then how do you learn how to be part of the conversation?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important.
Don't talk with grown folks talking.
That's so, I hate that, man. I hate that.
Old folks, man, used to say some bullshit.
But that's why you get old folks with the attitude.
Old folks.
The world these days is so terrible. These kids these days. Imagine if you took that attitude that, these kids these days don't know anything. Well, they're going to be the ones running it here real soon.
Real soon.
I'm 53 years old. I'm already past my prime.
They finna be running the world real soon.
And they're finna be running the world. And if we
real soon.
If all we do is disrespect them for no reason other than their age.
And disqualify them and discredit them.
That's a tragedy.
It is.
It's a tragedy.
It is.
And I think that's one of the reasons why Kay Ivey signed that stupid bill about cannabis.
Oh, man.
I don't want to get into the weeds about that, but...
No pun intended.
No pun. I didn't even catch that. That's hilarious. Yep.
Oh,
but that's how
okay.
That's how you get the attitudes that say that...
For some plant material.
Well, take it
when you really look at it, it's fucking plant.
Take it to another level. You know what MDMA is?
No, I do not. I've heard of it.
MDMA,
ecstasy, ain't it?
Ecstasy, yeah. It's used as a party drug and it's ecstasy.
Mm-hmm,
but when used under clinical supervision, it has a 70% success rate of curing PTSD.
Mm.
And it's about to be...
Now, curing and treating are two different things. Is it treating my PTSD or is it curing my PTSD?
I don't want to talk like a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
but I've listened to several doctors talk about it. Andrew Huberman today.
We've been talking legalese today too.
Legalese.
Legal terms
The
of
success
words.
that they're having in
Mhm.
treating people. Okay,
Is it curing and treatment is two different things.
you know what ayahuasca is?
And they don't like to cure shit. So,
You know what ayahuasca is?
hell no.
It's another psychedelic drug. It's illegal in the United States, but it's a big industry in
Ayahuasca.
South America.
Sound like someone Native American would smoke.
Okay, yeah, it's I don't, you know,
Like a peyote or something.
Peyote,
Like,
oh,
like
yeah.
it, like it's you mix it with your
But-
peyote and it's like a twin drug, like an evil twin brother. Like,
It's interesting you say that because ayahuasca is actually two separate drugs that are combined together, and individually they don't do anything, but together they give you a different kind of experience. But all right, Ron White, the comedian,
Okay.
big time alcoholic his entire life,
Uh-huh.
drinking. That was part of the show. I mean, you know, he was drunk on stage. I've seen him live twice, and by the Late Show, dude
Oh
was
yeah, you get lit on the late show.
wasted.
Yeah.
Wasted, and he lived his entire life like that. And his doctor finally said, "Hey, man, you got a choice." And he didn't know how to quit drinking, and he went to South America and did an ayahuasca experience, and came back a non-drinker. Hadn't had a drop of drink since.
Does he still do ayahuasca though?
It's not something you do every day. It's a
Oh.
it's a maintenance thing. You know, you'll do it once a year, or maybe every couple years, or whatever.
So it's like a
just to-
permanent nicotine patch or some shit, or permanent alcohol.
It rewires your brain. We talked about psilocybin, but it's a way of helping your brain to rewire itself so that you can change the way you think about things. And if you can change the way you think, then you can change your actions. You know,
Right,
that
it's
you,
all in your head.
you lead with your mind. You know,
Yeah, you do.
the PTSD treatment that that psychedelics have shown so much promise in, the way that the way they say it works, and I don't want to, you know, again, I'm not a doctor, but they say it allows you to relive whatever experience it was that gave you trauma, but with the ability to change that experience in your mind as you're going through it. It's not necessarily pleasant, but it allows you to, you know, let's say you're a war veteran
Mm-hmm.
and you saw terrible things. Whatever imprint that left on your mind, what the doctors are saying now is that psychedelics allow you to go back and relive that, but with the ability to change your mindset on how you cope with it. That's probably way oversimplified. Don't anybody listen to this and say, Shane said go use drugs. I'm not saying to and I'm not saying not to.
Ayahuasca.
But I'm saying that from a medical standpoint, apparently the FDA is about to legalize MDMA for clinical use.
Okay.
Because it shows so much promise in police officers.
And then they can finally put their grubby little fingers on it.
Yeah, and that's going to be
For
the
the
problem.
tax cattle.
Not just the tax, but the regulation and
Regulation and all that.
that's a whole nother conversation we had earlier too. I don't know. But here's the thing: we talk about drugs are bad, right?
Drugs are bad.
Everybody uses drugs.
Drugs are bad.
You drink coffee, that's a drug.
Sugar.
It doesn't give you energy.
Caffeine,
Sugar, caffeine, antidepressants. You know,
My opioids.
opioids. You know, they have their uses.
Yeah.
I sure am glad that when I had my appendix out, that I was able to have.
Got an opioid.
And that was fentanyl. They give you
Mhm.
fentanyl to put you. I mean, that's what they give you in the hospital if you're going to get an operation. You're getting fentanyl. And boy, I'm glad they had it.
Morphine.
Never had it.
Fentanyl is like synthetic morphine, ain't it?
I think so.
Do they correlate with one another?
Pretty sure they're all in the opioid
the
category.
opioid
I
category.
think.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, shit, I think we do for an introduction.
I think we are due for an introduction.
Introduction.
Oh yeah, we're a little late.
We're a little late. I bet we've been going for about damn 10, 12 minutes.
14. You're getting pretty good at that.
At least I knew it was more than 10,
You're getting
but not
pretty
too
good at
much more than 12. That's why I said
Yeah.
10 to 12.
that. Oh, what are we doing today? What, you want to give me a theme?
Intro.
All right.
We talked about Jaws. Dun, 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 dun. Shane the brain shark, do 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 do. Shane the brain shark, do 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 do. Shane the brain shark, do 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 do. Shane the brain shark.
That is very funny. You know, okay, so as I prepare myself to think of a introduction, I was talking to Artie Dean. Shout out Artie Dean. And
Shout out Artie Dean.
Artie invited again. When I talked to him Sunday, he said, y'all can come up here every Sunday if you want to.
Man,
We need to make that happen.
damn Artie's the man.
So we need to think of
I gotta know how to get away though, cause I'm in like pretty much a one man show. one-man operation. It's hard for me to get away from the trailer
Really not.
these last few.
And it doesn't resonate the same if it's just me.
No.
I got up and said a few words this time, but it felt awkward not having.
And it won't resonate with just me.
Yeah.
You give us credibility.
We're
They
the-
gonna look at me
We're
and
the
be like,
dynamic
oh,
duo.
look at this
You
guy.
give me too much credit.
Look at
That's
this
what it is.
fool up here on stage.
But we need to think of a good live intro. When we
Somebody
stand
do it.
up, we need to have something to say that's going to get their attention immediately. They're like, what are these two guys doing? I don't know what that intro will be.
I don't know either, Shane.
I could do the
Need to work on
UTFO.
But I say that getting up there is the only way we're gonna work on it.
That's true.
And I mean, I bet after a month, I bet we'll have something dialed
I bet
in
we'll have,
pretty
yeah.
well.
Kind of, we've always done it that way. Just let it
just
form
just let it
organically.
form organically, and I bet after about 2, 3, 4 tries, we'll have something dialed in pretty good. Like that action breeds clarity.
You know what? I got an
We
idea.
gotta put some action. We gotta put our money where our mouth is.
We've never done a sing-along introduction. We sing a lot. We've never done it as an introduction.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what comes to my mind today?
I hope I know the song.
You do. Because it's been so, today's been an interesting,
It ain't Mustang Sally.
no.
Okay, Damn, Shane.
Hallelujah, there's one. What's
Sweet
that?
Home Alabama.
Nah, we can't do that. But this one is almost as ubiquitous.
Okay.
You know it. But I'm reminded
Sweet
of the fact.
Caroline. Is it that one?
No.
Oh damn! That's 3.
That would be
3
wild if
strikes
you
on
came
out.
up with it.
3 strikes on out.
But I'm
I'll let
reminded
try.
of the fact that I came down
songs.
here today in sort of a funky mood and being around my friends, people that I care about deeply, I already feel a million times better.
Oh damn.
So with that in mind, you ready? Friends. How many of us have them? Friends. Ones you can depend on. Friends. Before we go any further, let's be friends.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to start it out.
Friends. Hey man, shout out friends.
Shout out friends.
Real friends, not just acquaintances or people that just blow smoke up your
Friends,
ass.
the word we
Real
use
friends.
every day.
Yes.
Most of the time we use it in the wrong
Not
way.
Facebook friends.
Not Facebook friends.
Real friends.
Not casual market friends.
Correct.
Something that
Real,
goes deeper.
Genuine friends. How would you define friend? What is a fucking friend? I don't even know what the definition of friend
We
is.
know the
But,
dictionary
put
doesn't
it,
know the meaning of friends.
Put it in your own words.
In my words, what's
How would you
friends?
define a friend? Let's be friends. I guess that song kind of defined it for you a little bit.
I do think that. You know what I say as a
Mhm.
friend? Here's what
Ones you
I'm.
can depend
Here's what
on.
I'm going to give. A friend is somebody who truly wants you to be the best person you can be. A friend is somebody who has seen you at your worst and still loves you.
Mm-hmm.
A friend is somebody who you can disagree with without being disagreeable.
Can I interject there a little bit?
Please.
So like you say seeing you at your worst, I think to go even a little bit further, a friend would be willing to see you at your worst, whether they've seen you at that worst just yet, and
good
still
point.
be in your corner. Or still ready to pick you up.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a better way of describing it. Actually,
That's
Because
I think
I
that's
haven't
a
seen you at your worst.
You haven't seen me
I
at
don't
worst.
think. And you haven't seen me at my worst.
If you did, you probably wouldn't even know.
I would hope I would know.
You hope you'll know.
I would hope you would communicate.
Communicate.
I would hope that you
I'm an
would.
open book.
I hope you would trust me enough to say I'm struggling with this.
I'm an open book, but
And
I
I
do
need you
have
to
a hard
come sit
time
beside
asking for help though.
Me too.
I really
we've
do.
explored that.
Like shit.
Yeah.
I have a hard time asking for help.
But you know,
Because
that's
I
one
never
of the
really
things that
had
I
the
respect
need.
about you. If you call me and ask for help,
Mm-hmm.
I know you're not bullshitting.
Oh yeah.
You're not gonna
I
call
call
me
you-
and be like, I need some help, and let's say it was a financial help. I need
Mhm.
$100, and I
Mhm.
give you $100, and then I find out the next day you went gambling with it or whatever.
Right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
I had that happen to me. A family member asked me for $500 to go visit their father.
$500 good chunk of change.
It is a good chunk of change.
Even right now, $500.
100%. And this was 20 years ago, so 15 years ago. But this
Yeah.
person asked me for $500 because didn't have the money to travel to go see the father who was on their deathbed,
Ooh.
or at least in bad sick, right?
So there's some sympathy there.
I gave him the
Makes some-
500.
uh-huh.
Of course, I
Yeah.
give you the
You
500.
get a couple
of
points
course,
there
yeah.
just because of the situation.
So I give them the $500,
Mm-hmm.
and then I come back and find out that they were involved in a big family poker game where there was hundreds of dollars in the pot, and they were gambling in there with it. And I'm like, you gambled with my money, and you know what they said? I didn't gamble with your money. I gambled with my own money. I used yours for travel, and then I used mine to get. I had a come apart.
Or did they ever pay the money back then?
Eventually, but only because I had a
Okay.
come apart. This was like a year later that I hadn't seen anything, hadn't heard anything, nothing. And I'm like, look, you know, I'm not trying to be kind of way, but I don't have 500 to lose necessarily. And you promised me it wasn't a gift, it was a loan. I learned a lesson on
Right.
that too.
Yeah, there's a
if you can't
difference
afford to live
between-
without it, you
Yep.
know, then
Don't even
maybe-
give it.
Then don't even loan it.
Don't even loan it.
But
Yep.
you know, then I found out this person, you know, and the excuse again was, well, you know, I used your money for what I said. I was traveling and stuff, and I had enough of my own money. Well, you should have used your own money to travel then, and told people you didn't have the money for the poker game.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's how I felt about it. It was a big problem. Still is kind of, you know, there's still a little bit of a.
Some tension there.
I wouldn't give them money again.
I ain't forgot.
I ain't forgot.
Yeah, you done burnt that bridge.
Yeah. Yeah, don't come ask me for money again.
Yeah, that bridge is burnt.
That one's gone.
Gone.
Yep.
All these things rebuildable. I learned
Not
that.
this
I learned that lesson too when it came to giving people money. You know, because I remember one time I let $50 get in between me and a friendship.
That's tough. $50.
Just 50 fucking bucks.
$50.
Go years without talking to somebody with $50.
Over $50.
Then you got to, I guess, with age and maturity, just be like, is $50 worth our friendship?
Right.
Was it worth my friendship with this person?
Well, and in this case, I felt like and still feel like that I was being deceived.
Mm-hmm.
Because if this person had the money to gamble with, then they did in fact have enough money to travel.
Correct.
Maybe they were going to be tight or whatever, but okay, travel tight. And if you get out there stranded, then call me.
Right.
And I'll wire you some money or whatever it is. But you know, do the best you can with what you got. Do all you can to help yourself before you come and asking me for help.
So something like $50, I'm just gonna give it to you because I don't even want to.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get into that to where I'm mad at you because you promised to pay me back. Don't even promise to pay me back. I'm giving it to you as a gift.
Right.
500, I might want my money back.
Yeah. And in this case, I could have done without the 500.
Well, you gave it to him, so I'm pretty sure you could have done it. But
and
still,
I was a year before I got that 5 back.
500.
But 500 is 500.
500. What if we grow up and become millionaires? You know, everybody's gonna have a handout, Shane.
Oh yeah.
Everybody. So then, when do you say yes or no? Like, would it be hard to say no?
I think sometimes it would, especially if you
easier to say yes
if
than
you're
it
living-
is to say no. I
if
don't
you're
know.
living in excess.
Mhm.
You know, for me, $1 million would be, you know, that's excess for me. You know, I could do fine. If you gave me 100,000, I'd be good for a long
I
time.
think $1 million split 3 ways would be damn
I'd be
great.
fine with it.
Be
I'm not
fine
turning it
with
down.
it. Shit.
Yep.
$1 million?
$1 million. You know, Steve Harvey said something about that. He said when he first became successful and started getting some money, you know, of course, you know, everybody comes out, you know, second cousin twice removed.
Everybody comes
Call
out
him
the
up
woodwork
with some kind of sad story or whatever. And he said his response was, what would you be doing if you didn't know me? Because whatever that is, that's what you need to get to doing now. And there's another Steve Harvey quote where he said, the best thing you can do to help poor people is not be one of them. That's a Steve Harvey quote.
That's a
The best thing you can do to help
Poor
poor
people
people
is not
is
be
not to
one.
be one of them. That's powerful to me. Yeah.
Is that helping
Makes
them
sense.
though? I don't know. It'd be hard for me not to give a lot if I got wealthy.
You know what I
Not at the expense of taking care of myself and my family.
of course.
But like excess.
Sure.
Shit.
It would be hard not to give up
It'd be
excess.
hard not to give up
But
excess. For me.
I think one of the things I would do,
I guess you got to get burnt a couple times though. I bet
Probably
people that's
do.
been rich a long time and got burnt a lot of times, and now it's
Yeah.
easier to say no.
but let's say we hit.
Okay.
We each get $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing to do is to pick people who you would be willing to help out and go on ahead and help them out before, you know, okay, I got $1 million. I got 4 people that I love enough to do something for.
Mm-hmm.
Here's 100,000 each or whatever the number is. This is what I can, either you do well with this or you don't do well with it. One way or another, this is what I'm going to do for you, and don't come back asking for more.
Don't come back
I
asking
gave
for
you
more.
a lot more than you would have had, and I mean, if somebody dropped 50,000 on you right now, you would put that money to good use.
Very good use.
That money would turn into 100,000
I damn sure try to make it.
or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like you wouldn't go out and squander it. You wouldn't catch you in the
No,
casino.
no.
In the high road.
I won't pull up in a brand new truck
No,
and decked out with this. I'll be trying to, how can we double this money?
How can we make this money
How
work
can we
for
make
us?
this
Or-
money work for us?
I'm gonna tell you now, if somebody dropped 50 on that, I'd probably just put it on my mortgage.
Mm.
Probably just drop it right there on my mortgage and be done with it. You know what I'm saying?
Would that pay the home off?
No.
I wouldn't do it then. That's not benefiting you in no way.
Oh, I think it is.
No.
Think of the interest that you would save if you could drop $50,000 on your
You still gonna have
mortgage.
the same payment every month. That ain't doing nothing for you right now at the moment. Yeah, it might
No,
help
but
you.
I think it would do
It might help you
long-term.
15 years down the road.
If you put 50 on your
I'm-
mortgage right now, you would probably save another 20 in interest payments over the life of that loan if you put 50
Yeah,
on
but
it
that
now.
ain't doing that for you right now. We talking right. I need money now. I'm not talking.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't do
I'll be
anything.
like,
you know.
okay, what can we do to grow the podcast a little bit more?
Okay, I
can
see
do some
that.
updates to the trailer that might bring in a little bit more money every
Yeah.
event.
Something
Stuff-
that- yeah,
stuff
something
like
that would bring in
not,
more
Not
money.
just throwing it all at my house.
Dropping it on your house.
You already got the loan on the house and the payment's the payment. Okay.
True, but again, if you look over the long term, how much would that 50 save you on your mortgage? A bunch. A lot of interest money.
I mean, if
Over
that's
the
what
life
if that's
of
what
the
you're
loan.
gonna do with,
Yeah.
I would not recommend it. I'd be like, go do something that we could try to double this 50 in the next couple months.
I would definitely put some on this.
Then
podcast,
the
that's
more
true.
the more money we start to bringing in, generating over the course of the year, maybe you can start putting a little bit
Something
more
that
money
would
towards
generate
that,
income. I
towards
see
that
what
home.
you're saying.
So
Not
that's
just
gonna
saving
generate,
money.
yeah, not just
not
try to
just-
save this money. Yeah,
Yeah.
that money, that money's spent right now on the home.
Hmm.
How can we turn this
The
50?
interest ain't spent.
How can we turn this 50 into something else right now?
Yeah,
How can we turn this 50 into something where it's
I'd
passively
be
and then we
much
can
more.
pay?
Yeah, I'd be much more interested in the next 15 years. I'm okay right now. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm broke, but broke is relative.
We all broke, Shane.
Yeah,
You
broke
look
is relative.
statistically, I think it's like 85% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck.
That's
Statistically.
probably true.
I mean, real numbers, I
Yeah.
want to say.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I'm like, can you imagine that?
I'm not living paycheck to paycheck.
85? I don't even get no
But-
fucking paycheck.
yeah,
so
but I mean, I'm not, you
Yeah,
know-
I'm definitely not living paycheck.
Yeah,
Foot them out, hand them out.
Hand them out. Yeah, yeah.
Hand them out, Shane.
But
Ass to grass. I don't know.
Ass
I'm
to
just
grass.
making shit up though. I'm just throwing shit out there.
that's wild.
85% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck.
That's sad.
That's
And
fucked up.
especially, one of the things I think about,
I think that's a national.
a lot of these people that are living paycheck to paycheck, they got a fancy car with a big payment.
I got that.
They got, I don't know if you have a tool for your business.
It is definitely a tool.
You have a
and
payment,
I
you know,
use it. And
yeah,
I
yeah.
use it as a tool.
But-
It's not no fancy car that I just look good in. That
And-
motherfucker get put to work.
And your truck it's a nice truck. Like I ain't done, it's
Mhm.
better than my van, that's for sure. But at the same time, it's not $100,000 Denali with all
No,
the bells.
no,
You know
no,
what I'm
no,
saying?
no,
Like
no.
you bought
This is a work truck.
you bought what you needed
Mm-hmm.
to do what you needed to do for your family and for your business, but you didn't. You could get stupid.
Mhm.
You could get stupid, and I would not say that you gotta. I don't think your truck is fancy. It's nice. It's a good truck.
Mhm.
I'm not down it at all. But again, a brand new truck, $100,000 or whatever right now.
$100,000.
You get it with the backup assist. You got to back your own trailer up,
I
don't
back
you?
my
Yeah,
own
see,
damn
there you go.
trailer.
Yeah. If you had a Tesla, what is that, Cybertruck or
The
whatever?
Cybertruck.
I'd be like,
That motherfucker's
man,
$100,000 and they look
easy.
like shit.
Yeah, they do, and they're not,
Elon, your truck look like shit.
and
Challenge me.
and they're not
I hope
really.
you hear this.
It ain't really a
When
truck.
we get Elon down here, man, that'll be
Oh,
cool.
that'd be wild.
That'd be wild as fuck, man.
Oh, I'd have some questions for him,
Get on Elon down here.
and I like Elon, but that Cybertruck is
Yeah, that's a piece of shit.
it's a piece of shit.
Yeah. That's the ugliest thing you could have fucking.
It's ugly. The trim is put on with glue.
Mm.
Like a lot of
So
the
they not
exterior
even
trim
built
is
well.
glued
That's
on.
what they saying. They.
Oh no, they're not built well. No. Have you know who Whistling Diesel is on YouTube?
Yeah. The one he be tearing shit up.
Just tear stuff up just to see how
like
much
Ferrari,
it will take.
he'll run a Ferrari off a cliff.
Yeah,
See
yeah,
what
whatever it
it'll
is.
do.
Go up mudding in it or whatever. He took one of those Cybertrucks and he was testing it up against like an F-250 or
Mhm.
something. And he
Yes,
got
sir.
the F-250 stuck on some kind of crazy mountain of logs or whatever. So he went to pull it out with the Cybertruck,
Rip the ass in out of it.
ripped the whole frame, ripped the frame apart. Go look. You can look that up. Whistling Diesel Tesla truck. It ripped the frame.
It's not a work truck.
No, it's not a work truck.
It's a work
Yeah.
truck.
Then he was like, I can't believe this happened. He took that same F-250 and hung it from its trailer hitch by a crane,
And that motherfucker hung.
and it hung.
Yeah.
You can't do that with no
You
Cybertruck.
cannot do that with
No,
a Cybertruck.
no, you can't do that. And have you ever seen? Oh shit! I'm sorry.
Damn, Shane, kicking shit
Kicking stuff over. So, but I've also seen like some towing tests. I don't know if you saw that commercial where they had a Cybertruck
Yeah, it was towing like a damn trailer or something. With,
Racing a Porsche or whatever it was.
Towing, racing a
yeah,
Porsche, yes, yes.
The Cybertruck won while it was towing another
Correct.
Porsche
I
just
did
like
see
it.
that, yes.
Okay, that's all well and good for the quarter mile. But if you hook a fifth wheel or a camper up to a Tesla and you try and drive it to wherever it is you're going camping, you ain't never going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Because by the time
you don't even have the battery.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You know, you
pull
pull
up
up
to 50 miles.
I think it's a little bit more than that.
A little bit more on the damn charge.
But then you got to
battery.
sit at the charger for however long it takes to charge the
However
thing
long
up
it
to
ta-
keep
yep.
on going,
Yep.
and you got to find a place with a charger. You know.
And they say these electric vehicles don't do well in cold, like sub-zero temperatures. They don't do well at all. Motherfuckers don't heat up. You don't get heat because you don't have that combustion.
Right.
No. I'm still not totally sold on the whole electric vehicle thing.
Oh, I'm not.
To the battery technology, till they start putting like little mini nuclear plants in those motherfuckers.
Or something, yeah.
You know, little damn
I think there's some solutions to it, and
reactors, damn.
I'm not against electric at all. But here's part of the problem.
I'm not against it either, but
Yeah.
I'm saying it's not in my cards at the moment.
No.
Not in my cards.
If you had the money to have like an extra vehicle. Now, here's another thing you could do. Have an electric vehicle for your everyday. Because let's face it, you know, even the least among electric vehicles will do 200 or 300 miles now on a charge.
Yeah.
That's going to get you through
Around
90.
city, it might get you throughout the whole week. And you can just put the triple charge at home or whatever.
And then if you need, that's assuming you're not having to tow something all the time. But let's say you want to go to Miami.
No.
You ain't going to do it in the electric.
No.
But if your electric was your everyday, for that once or twice a year trip, go ahead and rent you something. You know, it'll probably still be, you know, I don't know. I'm not against electric, but I'm like you. But here's the thing. We have 120 years or whatever of infrastructure built for combustion engines. 120 years from now, if we continue to invest in electric,
probably be flying by then,
or whatever it is. Or we'll have charging stations where we'll have modular batteries, and the batteries will get better and better. Think about
swap them out like a DeWalt.
Swap them out like a DeWalt. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
We got to, you know, somebody's going to have to go, and that's one of the things I think that Elon has missed the boat on. Is rather than trying to figure out, you know, they've tried to make a network of fast chargers. You see those Tesla chargers places or whatever, but with $5 billion or whatever Elon has, invest more in the infrastructure that's going to make electric cars and trucks
like
practical.
400 billion.
Man, I don't know. It's a lot.
It's hundreds of billions. He's worth hundreds of
Hundreds
billions.
of billions.
Still, even, and he done lost a lot of his network.
So whatever that is,
whatever that's in, you know,
do
he's
your
worth
best to
hundreds of billions.
improve the electric vehicle technology like he's doing, and I think he's on the right track there.
I
But
think
I think they should be spending more money on infrastructure and how to make that more convenient and practical for everyday use. You know, if you had a charging station where you could, you know, roll up and battery technology was standardized, and again change out a battery like a DeWalt.
Like a DeWalt. Yep.
You know,
boop, boop, boop.
Say it takes
a big ass crane. You got a crane operator, whatever.
or whatever. Yeah, however that works.
I'm imagining in my mind because I've worked in factories.
Right.
And that's what they did with because all the pallet jacks are electric.
Mm-hmm.
They had these big ass rectangular square batteries. Then they had a battery room.
Okay.
You had a damn crane
Just change
above
them out.
us. You had a guy in there that operated the crane, or you could be signed off to operate the crane. You know, like supervisors, we could do it. And if that guy didn't show up to work, I would be the one to have to go change out the battery.
Right.
If that guy's at work, that's his job all day long, swapping out
batteries.
electric jack batteries.
And you could have charging stations instead of gas stations. You could have a charging station and somebody that's there, and you pay, you know, whatever fee you pay to, you know, swap out your. If your battery's got 30%, then you pay for the 70%
difference if you get 100 fully charged battery.
Hey Elon, work on the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Quit boring them stupid tunnels in California.
And get the fuck out of politics.
And get out of politics
and work on your
and do what you do best.
Yeah, do what you do best, Elon.
Listen, you know, that SpaceX is amazing how they can catch a rocket like that. That doesn't even seem like it could possibly be real.
Crazy.
So I understand you know, have your ego that wants you to make a difference or leave a legacy, but your legacy is innovation, not politics. Yeah.
Stick to the innovation.
I'm with you on that.
Stick to the innovation.
And don't get me wrong now, I want somebody to open the books and find where we're wasting our money. I definitely want that.
You can fight all you want if fucking the president just gonna go back and spend everything you done found.
And the next one's gonna, that's for sure.
It don't fucking matter.
Yeah, that's for sure.
They just print the shit off anyway. How are we in debt to ourselves, Shane?
It's a good question. Good question.
When we can just print the shit off. Nobody can answer that question. I haven't found nothing on that question. Okay,
Wait a minute, what's the question?
we trillions of dollars in debt.
Okay.
We can just print this shit off. We are the global currency. We control the currency across the globe. I mean, our currency is the standard, at least at the moment.
Right.
We're indebted to ourselves. How are
Okay.
we indebted to ourselves when we just print the shit off? We are indebted to our. You look up who we owe debt to. When they say okay to.
Well, we owe money to other countries too.
We're indebted to ourselves mostly.
We are, yeah. Most of it is indebted
Most
to
of it
ourselves. the
indebted
American
to
people.
ourselves to drive inflation. How are we indebted to ourselves when we could just print the shit off and we could just hit a button or hit reset on it? Print the shit off, pay what we owe to everyone else. Print off if we owe, let's say across the globe, let's say we 50 trillion, and then across the globe we're maybe 20 trillion. Print off $1 trillion, pay everybody else we fucking owe that trillion, hit reset on the debt.
All right, I'm not an economist.
I'm not either, but I'm thinking.
But I know that won't work.
And I'm thinking, I'm using my common sense. Like I say, my common sense tell me the Earth's flat.
Yeah.
My common sense tell me if I control the debt, if I control the currency that has the debt, why can I just print that shit off?
And I think you're just as correct on both points. I think you're just as right about flat Earth as you are about being able to print the money.
There you go.
Which is to say, I think you're wrong on both points.
I get what you're saying.
But here's okay. So here's an example that I'll use.
Mhm.
And again, I'm not an economist, and I'm probably not smart enough to
I'm
whatever.
not either,
So,
Shane. I'm
but-
just thinking like a fucking just
what do you know about the diamond industry?
nothing.
All right, so I know a little bit,
Okay.
just a little bit.
Okay.
Back in the day, the De Beers Company bought up a bunch of diamond mines in Africa.
Mhm.
Bought hundreds of thousands of acres of diamond mines in Africa. They've been mining those diamonds for all these years. And from what I understand, there are huge warehouses full of diamonds
Okay.
that they hold in Africa. Like, however many diamonds, think about every diamond that everybody has in their ring, in their watch, in their necklace, whatever it is, all those diamonds. It's like 1,000 times that many. A girl's best friend. But there's 1,000 times that many diamonds. They sold us that bullshit, didn't they? You ever heard that Ron White joke about that? Remember the
I'm sorry to
slogan was,
interrupt you. I'm just.
No, that's all right.
I'm sorry.
The De Beers Company had a slogan that said, "Diamonds leave her speechless or breathless or whatever." And Ron White said, "Oh, that's just another way of saying diamonds. That'll shut her up."
That'll shut her ass up.
But anyways, the point is there are stores of diamonds
Okay.
1,000 times more than every diamond in circulation.
Mhm.
If they just released all those diamonds into the market, diamonds would be worth about as much as cubic zirconium.
I got an argument.
As
for
cut
that shit.
glass.
I see where you're going with this.
And so if you just printed money to get us out of debt, that money is now worth nothing. Mexico tried to do that 30 years ago, and now
But Mexico didn't control the global currency.
that's true. But
We
why do
control
we?
her-
But why do
But
we?
here's the thing: we're already feeling the effects if that money was still out there in the world
Wait a minute. What?
with inflation. We're already feeling the effect of what you're essentially saying. The more money we
Oh,
put
I
out
agree.
there,
But
the
partially
less
because.
value it will have.
But
We
partially
already
because
have the effects of the less value that it have because of the debt.
But the
That's
reason,
what the inflation is,
not necessarily. We have been printing money.
and it's
Trying to
going to
get
continue to
ourselves out of
devalue.
Exactly.
Let's say that McDonald's used to have a dollar menu a couple of years ago,
At McDonald's,
15
yeah,
years
yeah,
ago.
yeah.
I grew up on a dollar menu.
Sure.
You can go fucking $5, you can get a meal.
For sure.
Now it ain't no more dollar menu
Sure.
because of the inflation that's taking place
So what
over
causes
the
inflation?
years. The debt.
I don't think so.
Yes. So what causes it then?
Printing money to try and print our way out of debt.
When you print money, you create debt. We saying the same
No,
thing.
I think we're creating the debt and then trying to print money to get out of it. Okay, so we used to have something called the gold standard.
You can't just they don't just print. They don't say, okay, we want to print $1 trillion off. That goes to our debt. If we do go print that $1 trillion off today, say we at 50 trillion right now. Tomorrow our debt's going to be 51 trillion if they go print that money off, and then it's going to devalue the dollar even more. What I'm saying is we already have the effects of the printed off money with the inflation and the devalue of the dollar right now. So what's stopping us from just zeroing that motherfucker out and starting over? since we control the global.
If we do
We
that, we'll no
control the
longer
debt.
control the global economy.
Well, I mean, we're gonna that's gonna eventually happen anyway. At least get ahead of it right now, while
But I
we
think-
still do
but
have the
again,
control.
part of that is because we're printing money we're not printing money to replace the money that goes away. We're printing money to try to create more wealth.
Let's
and
print,
that's what
and
causes
I'm saying
inflation.
print the money to make the
But
debt
if-
go away.
but if
Get
that's-
rid of the shit.
But if it's already not working, then it ain't gonna work if we're printing more.
It's just zero. Send
Now it's
fucking
just
China,
zeros,
send
yeah.
China damn $1 trillion on the computer. Send
So-
Russia whatever we owe 'em.
What makes
Fucking-
money valuable? Why is money worth something?
People,
What do you mean?
we give it value.
What do you mean? Explain.
I got a $10 bill in my hand.
Right.
We both agree that this is worth $10.
Exactly. Yeah. So
And it's just a piece of paper.
yeah,
It's fiat. It's fiat currency. It really don't
it's
have
fiat
no
currency. That's
value.
exactly right. It doesn't have any intrinsic value.
No intrinsic value.
It's worth $10 because we both agree
We
that
both
it is.
agree, and it has a 10 written on it.
And it has a- yeah.
In God we trust in the United
Same,
States.
so same thing with diamonds. Why are
Mhm.
diamonds so expensive? Because everybody agrees and believes that it's worth that money. If we flooded the market with all those excess diamonds, then we would all, if you got, let's say you're a diamond broker
Mhm.
and you got 2 diamonds to sell,
Right.
all right? Or let's say 10 diamonds to make some easy math, all right? You have 10 diamonds to sell, and everybody wants a diamond to give to their girl, right? So if we're all lined up wanting those 10 diamonds, you say, well, I'm gonna give my girl a diamond. I say, no, I'm gonna give my girl a diamond. You say, okay,
It's only 10.
it's only 10. So what happens then is you tell the diamond broker, well, I'll
That's
give
it.
you 1,000 for that diamond. I'm like, oh no, I want it more than you do. I'll give it 1,100. And eventually, it's like bidding on an old car.
Right.
It's the same kind of
So,
thing. So
So scarcity gives stuff value.
scarcity. There you
Scarcity.
go. And so
Scarcity.
if we just print the money to quote unquote get ourselves out of debt, then that money's not worth anything and it won't pay off the debt.
Yeah, it will. Because I owe myself the debt.
We don't owe it just to ourselves though.
Yeah, we do, Shane.
We owe China trillions of dollars.
Okay. Send them a check. Hit a zero on the computer. Who
But-
cares?
But
We still
But
we
it
still
won't work.
we still control it. You're
But
not
it-
hearing what I'm saying,
but-
Shane. We control it.
but it won't work that way. And the example that you just gave is the
I guess
reason
not
why.
because they haven't done it. I
So,
guess that's
so why
I'm just
is
speaking out my ass. I don't know. I'm
Right.
not an economist, just like you.
Yeah, I'm not an economist
I'm
either.
just thinking
But
like
here's
if
the
I
thing.
control it, if
Why
I
is
control
it-
the debt to myself,
why is it that we control? Why is it that our money is the worldwide currency? Because everybody agrees that that money is worth
you can
something.
whoop your ass if you don't agree.
True, but the reason why
I mean
it
that's
is
why, because we got the military power to say that
You
this
think we
is.
could beat China?
Yeah.
Hell no.
They can't fuck with us.
China would
No, they can't.
destroy us.
No, they cannot.
I
Shane.
disagree.
No, they cannot.
China
We'll
would
wipe,
destroy
we'll
us.
wipe China out. If it got to that, we'll destroy each other. If it got
Mutual
to
destruction
it'd be
might happen.
mutual
Yeah,
destruction.
yeah,
if
that
it
may
got to
happen.
that point, but can't nobody touch us, Shane. We protected by water, and we got Mexico and Canada buffering us. You can't even
Okay.
you can't even get to us. For one,
I think you have
we
a,
put a lot of money into our military industrial
Sure.
complex, Shane. That's why
We do.
don't nobody. That's why no one still toppled us. We're going to destroy each
That's
other
part
from
of the
within.
reason. That's part of the reason, but part of the
Mm-hmm.
biggest reason why
If you
why
talk
China won't attack us,
because they get their ass whooped. That's why they won't
I don't
attack
think
us.
so. I think the biggest reason they won't attack us is because they rely on our economy to they rely on selling us stuff
Correct.
to make their economy right. That's why they won't attack us, because if we're gone, then nobody's buying their shit.
They're cheap shit,
Yeah, or they're good shit.
and we won't have the cheap shit to buy.
Where do the vast majority of our pharmaceuticals come from? We found that out during COVID.
Wuhan.
Well, China in general. China
That
makes
Wuhan,
almost
that
all of our
Wuhan flu.
that Wuhan flu.
That China.
But China makes the
what
drugs that
Trump
we
called
use.
The China virus.
China makes every single
China
iPhone
bloody motherfucker.
in the world.
They did.
Still do.
Then we put a hold on the tariff from them.
I think he reduced it.
Who does the tariff affect?
Everybody, I think.
It definitely affect us.
Sure, it's gonna affect us. Yeah.
Yeah, because they just gonna raise the price and tax us on the shit.
Right. Oh yeah, that's for sure. Yeah,
That-
you're definitely
that-
just gonna.
80-inch fucking
the consumer.
$500 TV that
Yeah.
you can go buy now is going to be $3,000.
3,000 or whatever.
Yeah, 3,000
The
whatever.
consumer definitely pays for it, but the tariff thing is a different one. Although I think most real economists agree that the tariffs are not the best way to go. I don't know whether But I think the theory
I don't know the
behind
answer
that,
to that
yeah,
either.
I don't know the answer to that. But I think
Just-
the theory behind that is to try to bring manufacturing back to the
back
United
to the
States.
United States.
And I'm
correct.
behind that. You know,
I think we all can agree on
I
that.
think we all
need
can
to
agree
have
on that.
manufacturing back
Whether
in the United
whether or
States.
not tariffs are the way that's going to do that, I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure
Do
that out.
we- Yeah. I'm not smart enough either. I don't know the answer, Shane. I'm just a little Georgia boy. Little
But I do know you
Georgia
can't
boy.
you can't print your way out of debt. That's
If I
that
owe
can't
myself
happen.
the debt, I can. If I control it and I can hit the print button whenever I want, I think you can.
I
That's
disagree.
my opinion.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think.
We ain't done it yet, so maybe not. I don't. It's
But
probably not that true.
other people have tried it. Mexico
Other
tried it.
people who don't have power have tried it. We
True
have
that.
we have power.
So you're saying we should just
globally.
use our bully might to force
We
the
do
Lord
it
to
all.
go
We
along?
do it all the way.
That don't make
we
it
always
right.
whoop ass
That
and
don't make it
whatever.
right.
Overthrow
do.
regimes and shit,
That's
and bring in
true.
our own regimes and
That's true.
whatever.
We definitely
Exploit
do that.
countries. Hey, Ukraine. I know we done sent y'all $300 billion, but y'all need to make this deal right now.
True.
We done sent you all this money, but we need to exploit your land for all your resources,
Or give us our 300 million.
or
back.
give us our damn 300 billion back. Matter of fact, get the fuck out the White House till you make up your mind. I don't know. That's essentially what happened. Did you ever see the interview with him? I would have kicked his ass out too. Well, I can't even think of the Ukrainian president. Damn, what's his name?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
I can't think of
I don't know enough about any of those foreign situations to speak in an educated way.
I just
But-
say we just need to mind our business.
I think we need to mind our
Fuck
business.
it.
Yeah,
Russia
that's
want
exactly what I
Ukraine.
think. Mind our
I'm
business.
saying, put it on
and
record. Let them have it, man.
Take that
They speak the
military
same
might.
language anyway.
Well, and here's the thing: most
That
of
might hurt somebody's feelings.
most of these
That's how
places
I
that have
feel.
been fighting for thousands of years.
Mhm.
I know absolutely nothing about the Israel and Palestine thing, but I do know this: they've been fighting since Jesus was walking. How are we gonna stop that now? How are we gonna stop that now when they've been fighting all this time? It ain't gonna happen.
With me.
Crazy.
I don't know, Shane.
Mind our own damn business.
Mind
Take
our own
that
business.
superior military might.
Hey, y'all want to
And-
whoop each other's ass? Whoop each other's
Yeah,
ass.
let them whoop each other's ass.
Whoop each other's ass.
We're gonna put our military
No
on the
America's
borders.
in danger? Okay.
Yep.
Oh, fuck it. We'll
Yep.
have at it. And whoop your ass.
But the reason goes back to what you said is that
Mhm.
we want their resources. Panama is a great example. We created the
We
country
did-
of Panama,
We did build a Panama Canal, too.
but it wasn't Panama before that. There was no country there.
Uh-huh.
We carved out a country. We established a regime there and put them in power so that we
We
could
did
build
give
the
it back to
Panama
them, though.
Canal.
Once we built it, we gave it to them.
Did we?
They just had to give us access to it whenever we wanted it. I think that was that's
mean,
probably a very simple way of saying
That's what
it,
they
but
said
I
on
think that's-
paper.
Yeah, on paper.
That's
I
what
think
they
that's
said on paper, but we still control the Panama Canal.
uh,
In reality,
in reality.
on paper we may not, but
But
in reality,
yeah.
we most definitely control
Yes,
the Panama
yes,
Canal.
yes.
And if they mess up too much,
Because I want to say their currency is dollar in Panama. I don't even think they have their own currency.
I
over
think
there.
you're right.
I bet they.
Yeah, I
I bet
think you're
everything is ran by the dollar
Mhm.
over there. Not no exchange. I think it's.
but
the
we've been
dollar.
doing that forever. Why did we go to Vietnam?
I don't know what the fuck we went out of Vietnam.
That was
Still
kind of
don't know.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where
that
did we
was
get
kinda
out of
crazy.
Vietnam?
We didn't get-
Besides hundreds of thousands of Americans getting their ass
54,000.
whooped. Yeah.
54,000
Yeah.
died, and then probably another 100,000 bad wounded or whatever. Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm
I don't know. I don't have the answer, Shane.
That's
I'm,
when I agree
I'm
with you
just talking out the
100%.
side of my
We
neck
need
on
to-
shit and how I simplify stuff in my head because I'm stupid. So I have to very dumb it down. If I know I print the money, I control the money. If I'm the banker in Monopoly and I control the money on the board, what's stopping me from slipping me some money out of here every now and then?
Let's
Damn,
play Monopoly. I'll play Monopoly
pay the
with you.
rent over here, pay the rent over here, as long as nobody knows.
I'll
I
play
don't know.
Monopoly with you.
Yeah, I love Monopoly.
But yeah. You know, that's something I've thought about. We ought to have a game night. Everybody says they love Monopoly, right?
Uh-huh.
What if we got all of our families together and just had a Monopoly night? That'd be
That'd be
fun
fun.
as hell.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
That'd be fun as hell.
Don't be mad when I whoop your ass, though.
Shit.
You'll be like, oh, we can't be friends no more.
You'll probably beat me in basketball, but if you think you beat me in Monopoly,
I debunked up and I'm sure.
I'll stand under the
You got
goal.
a sky hook
Get the
on you,
rebounds.
Shane. You like
I
old
do have-
sky hook.
I used
type
to have
of
a
guy.
sky hook.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
like
Yeah,
once you get that sky hook down there, you might be damn hard
Jabbar
to
was
stop.
Jabbar was my man, dude. I wanted to be Kareem
That's a
Abdul-Jabbar.
signature move in
Yeah.
the NBA. Yeah, sky hook.
You
You
can't
don't
defend it.
even see it no more though.
No, nobody uses it, and
It's
I think
the
that's a
3-point.
shame.
Now it's just
Yeah,
3-point.
that's
So
all it is.
It's the step back 3-point.
Basketball's not the game it used
Which
to be.
I give James Harden credit for that one. That step back.
I quit. I was a Lakers fan back when the Lakers were the Lakers. You know, Kareem and Magic and Cooper and Kurt Rambis and those
you
guys.
was a damn Larry Bird fan.
Well, here's the thing. I was born in Lansing, Michigan, and Magic is from Lansing, Michigan. So as much as I was a Lakers fan, most of that probably started because of Magic,
Okay.
because of where he came from, and he's from my hometown. I've played basketball in the gym that he played in high school with his jerseys retired, hanging up on the walls. Everett High School is what it's called, where he went to high
The
school.
second episode, Magic done came up back to back.
Could be.
You talked about him clapping Arsenio Hall.
Clapping Arsenio. Yeah.
Last
I don't care if he
episode,
clapped
I was
Arsenio
like,
either.
I
I still love
that
him.
Shane.
But then I started. I
love
loved the Lakers because of him, and then Kareem probably really set it over the edge for me. Because
the
that
dream, man. Magic was the truth, man. I did like watching Magic play.
Yeah, he was something. But you think about it too.
Kareem played up into his 40s.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Easily.
He was
Yeah,
the all-time
I
points
think
leader
they got
until
a thing
recently.
like how many games? Yeah, well, and I don't think they counted like the first couple years. They weren't keeping like track of
So is
points
it-
like that. His first couple years in the league.
Is it Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Lou Alcindor?
he Kareem now.
He's
I mean,
Kareem now?
but he came in as Lou Alcindor.
What
Then he found religion. You know,
what was,
became a Muslim and
Yeah.
Kareem Abdul.
What was that in Barbershop about Muhammad Ali? His mama called him Clay. I'ma call him Clay.
That was Coming to America.
Was it coming? Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's right. It was in the barbershop. But you're right. It was
Clay
in.
was a bad motherfucker.
His mama called him Clay.
I'ma
call him Clay. Shout out, Coming to America. What a great movie. Did you see the second one?
I'ma call him Clay. That's how he did it.
Had his eyes all squinted up and everything.
I'ma call him Clay. I'ma call him
Clay. Every one of those guys was Eddie Murphy. Right?
Yeah, they
It was
all played by Eddie Murphy, and
What?
that was back then.
Yeah. When that when they didn't have the CGI and all the things. He
I
had
think
to-
he's the one that really started that, like dressing up in different roles.
yeah, he had to get all that makeup and everything.
Yep.
I'm sure it was shot on different days.
Oh man,
What a unique talent
that was a good ass.
Eddie
movie,
Murphy
man.
is.
I'ma call him Clay.
I'm gonna call it Clay.
Oh shit. Yeah,
So where are you going this weekend?
we'll be in Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge.
We're leaving out Wednesday.
Okay.
Leaving out Wednesday, maybe afternoon, maybe after 12.
Okay. You gonna set up sell popcorn then?
No. Wife has a business meeting down there. That's where her company's headquartered at, in Baton Rouge.
Okay.
Baton Rouge,
Baton Rouge.
Louisiana.
You ever been there before?
Never. I've been to New Orleans.
New Orleans. I've never been there either.
Yeah, I've been
I don't
to
know if I've ever even been in
NOLA. I've
Louisiana.
been to NOLA,
NOLA.
New Orleans, Louisiana.
How'd you like it?
NOLA. It was a dump.
Yeah.
Yeah, it smelled like piss. Sewage.
Were you there during Mardi Gras or another time?
No, it was another time.
Okay.
Mardi Gras was when did we go? Mardi Gras I think was coming. Either we got there before or after Mardi Gras.
Nah.
But when you walk down what's that, Bourbon Street?
Bourbon Street. Yeah.
Yeah, they was doing a lot of construction for one, and then it really honestly it just smelled like sewage.
Now, do
It
they
really
let
did
white
smell
people come
like
to
something.
are we allowed there now? Because
White folks?
right after Katrina, they said New Orleans will be a chocolate
Well,
city.
only the redheaded white folks.
Only redheaded white folks are allowed.
Yeah, you haven't heard?
No, I hadn't heard.
Yeah. So redheaded white people are the new black people.
What?
You haven't heard this shit? Have you heard this, Kevin? Redheaded white people are the new black people.
So what? They're gonna be slaves?
So they not so
Sorry, that was
so
terrible.
look so I mean let me break it down to you.
Okay.
No, they're not gonna be slaves. You know
Right,
that
right.
that doesn't end it. But
Shit.
redheaded white, well, it's all we just paid
It's a-
we just paid
There's
to be
millions of
now.
slaves in the Congo right now
But,
for real
um,
slaves.
But instead of calling
Mining
them
that cobalt.
instead of calling them gingers, they not gingers no more.
Okay.
They gingers.
Gingers?
You can't say, you can put the ER on it. You know where I'm going with this.
I think I do.
Like we ain't like
Right.
the N word ER,
Right,
and then you
right.
got the N word AS.
Right?
The redheads are gingers now.
You're supposed to soften it up a little bit.
Gingers. They're not gingers.
You know, my wife has
So when
red
you call
hair.
them a ginger, that's like calling us the N word. But when you say ginger, it's like, okay, you one of us.
As it happens, I'm married to a redhead.
She a ginger.
and she
No,
it don't make no difference.
it's been
I'm
this
just
funny. It's been this funny meme going around the last
Really?
like within the last
That's
month
hilarious.
of how redhead people are the new black folks.
That's
They,
hilarious.
we not gingers no more. We're gingers. I can't believe you ain't heard that one.
No,
story.
no.
Oh man.
You know me, man. I stay
They
in my cave.
they gingers now.
Gingers. Shout out gingers.
Shout out gingers.
I am a partial to redheads. I'm married to one.
You are married to
I
a
am married to
redhead.
one.
You are married. So
Wow.
what color does red hair eventually turn as they age? Redheads age.
I think it depends on the redhead, but Jessica's is turning silver. You
Mm.
could say gray, but it's actually I think it's beautiful. Her hair is I think it's beautiful the way
Like she
it
still
changes
has some
color.
red in it, but
Yep.
the silver starting to come through.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep. And I think it's a beautiful combination.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
You know, I'm a big fan.
That silver color.
I might have a redheaded daughter. We'll see. She's blonde right now, but you can definitely see red tint, especially in the
Mhm,
sunlight. So you know, yeah, we'll
They're
see.
really starting to fill in and thicken up.
Mhm. Yep. It looks more blonde until you really start looking at it, especially in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then we'll see what. You know, we'll see where it goes from there.
What comes out of it.
But I had very white blonde hair when I was a kid,
Mm.
and Daniel, my son, had
I thought his hair is dark.
it
His
is,
hair was like
but it was
dark
but it
brown.
was Casper the Ghost when he was born. Well,
Oh.
he was bald when he was born, just like Madeline.
Madeline.
They were both
like
bald as
Madeline.
hell. Yeah.
Okay.
But then when his hair came in, it was the same color as Madeline's. And as he's gotten older, it's turned to the brownish color. But mine was too. If you see pictures of me when I was a little kid, I was blonde as Madeline,
Mm.
and now my hair's
Wow.
brown.
Uh-oh.
I feel like our sound
Some changed on my mic there, Shane.
just a little bit.
You're like a fuzz.
Should I speak up or speak down? I don't know.
Like a little fuzz.
Little
Little fuzz, Shane.
fuzz.
I'm glad you came down here today, man, to speak with us. It's my daughter's birthday today, too.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I actually thought
Shout
about
out,
canceling
man.
out because it was my daughter's birthday.
Right.
I was like,
Right.
shit, do I give him a heads up?
I would have understood
Then I was
for
like, you know what? This is the only time of the week where I get to go do something that I want to do
that. Yeah,
with no baggage.
with no baggage, no responsibility other than
Right.
just, you
So
know,
I almost feel responsible taking this time for myself. Sometimes you gotta just put yourself first in certain situations.
I think it's important
And we're definitely doing something for her tomorrow on her birthday.
for sure.
You know,
Going
So,
kayaking.
going kayaking.
Going
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna cancel this time because I take this time personal for myself.
Sure.
For myself. So it kind of goes back to what you were saying a
Yep.
little bit. You know, like it's therapy. I get the fellowship with my friends. You know, the fellas.
It's important.
It's important to me, and it's one of the only times, honestly, throughout the week that I get to have some time to
I'm sure.
to myself.
Yeah, I'm
Because
sure.
outside of that, I either got my boys with me.
I was
what's
gonna say,
going on
with all them kids you still got in the
Look, all
house.
the kids I still got in the house, and my wife works now,
Right,
so they not in daycare.
right.
While she's at work, they're
Right.
with me. Even if I do have a gig to go to, I
Right.
take them to work
Take
with me.
them, yeah.
I take them to Green Street. I take them to Bailey Cove. I take them to
Yep.
Sunday Market. So
And that's important. Well, I tell you what, watching
Mm-hmm.
Madeline and Enzo play Sunday was so fun.
oh yeah,
That was, you know, I love watching kids together just in general.
correct.
But the two of them always play well together. It was fun watching them play.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that was pretty
I
wild.
think they know each other now.
They know each other enough.
They
where
know
they're-
each
yeah,
other
they're-
enough. Yeah,
you know.
Kind of. They just.
And as they grow older
Mhm.
and, you know, continue to know one another, you know, that'll just become more, you know, hopefully they'll be good friends.
I hope so.
Look, if Enzo starts macking on my daughter, though, I gotta be a father.
I think
man.
you got a wow. You
I
got
got a wow,
you
yeah.
got a wow. You got a wow.
No, but you know what? I'm kidding about that too because
Mhm.
I firmly believe, as parents, we should step in as little as possible when it comes to those things.
Oh yeah.
If he asks her out and they go out, okay, they go out.
I had a proud dad moment the other day. I went to a field day with Leilani, and I let Leilani skip. I let Leilani skip school
Okay.
when I have to go work an event. You know,
Mhm.
especially at a certain event at a school, because so Sparkman Middle School, all the kids that fed into Sparkman Middle School came from Harvard's Elementary.
Okay.
Leilani went to Harvard's Elementary, but when she finished 5th grade, they did a rezoning. So she was going to
Oh.
originally go to Sparkman Middle with all her friends.
Oh,
But they
okay.
rezoned us. She ended up having to go to Monrovia
That's
Middle
tough.
School.
That's tough.
So she had to make new friends. You know,
Mhm.
maybe one or two came over, but most of them
Sure.
went to Sparkman Middle. Because we're right on that line where they
Mhm.
rezoned. So like the front of our neighborhood go to Sparkman Middle, the back of the neighborhood go to Monrovia Middle.
That's wild.
The same neighborhood.
You could be neighbors.
And one can
And
go
not
to,
go to the same
and not
school.
go to the same
Wow.
school within the same neighborhood. So when I have an event at Sparkman Middle, I'll let her skip school just so she can go see her
That's
old friends. And it's a responsible thing because, for one, she got all A's.
Mm-hmm.
She rarely missed school, so I don't feel guilty about
I
it.
don't think, yeah, no, you shouldn't. And not for nothing, she's learning something by being a part of the business.
Right.
By being it's not like it's not like you went to Six Flags. Although I wouldn't judge if you take her to Six Flags, but
Oh, well, she's my kid. Shit, I
Yeah,
should if I want. Hey,
take her. Yeah, that's your child.
I'm going to
Yep.
fucking Six Flags.
Yep. And principal better not say nothing about it either. That's not your
Mhm.
business. But I don't. In this case, being part of the business is educational for her. She's
Correct.
learning. Even if she didn't have any responsibilities, which I know she does, but even if she didn't have responsibilities with the business,
Right.
she's learning something about, well, just, where money comes from and how,
Correct.
that you have to work in order to have things and how to interact with people. And, there's a million lessons.
And it's like a reward for doing well in school.
Sure.
But if you was failing your classes, of course I wouldn't
Different
be taking
story.
It'd be
Yeah.
a whole different story. It wouldn't be no question. I just do it on my own today, babe. But
And let's be
you do
100%
well in
honest
school.
here. How much are they really learning in school?
Oh man,
Let me ask you this. Let's say
public food system.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. Public food
public
system.
food system.
Yeah.
Let's say
Public school, public food system.
after middle school,
How much do you really?
how much do you really learn? Like if you had quit school after your first year of high school, say.
What would happen to you if you decided that I don't want my kids to go to school? No homeschool, nothing. I don't want them to go to school at all. They gonna have the school of life.
I-
What? Do you have the freedom to do that? You think, Shane?
No, you don't. No, you'd be arrested.
But should you have the freedom to do what you want with your own kids?
I do think you should have the freedom to do what you want with your own kids. Yeah.
They'll come take your kids if you don't put them in school, and
Yeah.
probably lock your ass up.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Yeah.
How free are we, Shane? We always go back to this,
Oh, sure.
this discussion.
And
How free are
on
we?
this one, I agree with you. We had a crazy conversation earlier. At the
Yeah.
coffee shop. Let's
How,
not get
how
into those
free? How
weeds.
free are we?
But
You finna come? You
if you
finna come?
can't-
Take my
if you
kid.
can't choose how you're going to educate your
I want to
child,
educate my child.
then how free are you?
How free are you?
I agree with that.
Mm.
What if you kept your kids out of school and DHR shows up at your door and they say they're going to take them? What you going to do?
So now you finna lock me and my kids up
What you going to
because
do?
I don't want you to go to school.
You going to pull out your guns?
It might be
They finna take 'em away.
it might be a standoff.
They're going to
Honestly,
take them away.
honestly, it might be
Yeah.
a serious standoff.
Yep.
But
Very
you,
well
can-
may
you can
be a
stand
standoff.
out. You can stand on that front yard all you want. You try to come up in here.
If you try and take
Are
my
you,
kids-
are you willing to have this fight? Then you gotta ask yourself, are you ready for this fight?
And that's the thing. That's a fight that you're not going to win. The
No,
individual
yeah,
is not going to
you're
win.
not gonna win individually. No,
You
you
know,
gonna you
they
might
got the biggest gang in the world.
Yeah,
You're
the
going to make a
biggest-
splash,
you make a little
but
splash.
they're still going to get your kid.
Like I had this conversation with my son the other day. We was talking about driving, and I know we talk about driving.
Right.
And like I said, okay, I can see I see myself rescinding my license to the state of Alabama. I see myself putting a tag on the back of my truck that says private property. No Alabama tag. So, of course, I'm gonna get some heat about it. Cop comes up to my window, say, "I need you to get out your car because I'm about to tow it because you're not legal." And I don't even know this car belonged to you.
Right.
This truck might be stolen
You might have
because
stolen it.
you can't even show me paperwork that you own it,
Right.
even though it's my truck. But then you ask yourself, so you about to steal it? Since you assuming that I stole it? Then you gotta ask yourself, okay, what are you willing to do for your property? Am I willing to really push it to that point? Like, okay, you try to take my truck from me, you're gonna have a fight.
Who's going to win that fight?
The biggest gang in the
The
fucking world.
biggest gang in the world is going to win that fight. Because here's the thing.
But dude, the question that officer has that, do he want this fight right now though?
Yeah. He's going to want that fight.
You want the fight.
Yeah, he's going to want that fight. And he's going to call all of his gang
So
members.
then it gets to the point, okay, it's gonna be what they call it when you like someone pull a gun on me, I got the right to pull a gun on them. What's the word I'm looking for, Shane?
Stand up.
You punch me in the face, I got the right to punch you back in the face. Apply force.
Applied force.
I'm gonna treat you how you treat me.
Okay.
I don't want no problem.
Right.
I'm minding my business. Now, are you willing to let me go, or are you trying to push your justice on me right here on the side of the road?
Pragmatically speaking, though, what's going to happen? You're not going to win that.
Either I'm going to jail, or I'm gonna die.
Right. But one way or another, you lost.
You're gonna lose.
You're going to lose.
Yeah, you're gonna lose in the
So,
long run.
The question becomes not whether or not the officer is willing to do but what you're willing to do.
How far
Are
I'm
you-
willing to take it.
Are you willing to risk your life and your family's life over this principle that you don't think you should have to get a driver's license?
No, that's a right. I shouldn't have to get a driver's
Okay, are
license.
you willing to risk you and your family's life on that?
I had my son asked that exact question. I said, I think I am.
You're willing to allow your
Certain
children to get
things,
killed?
certain things you gotta, certain things certain men have to stand on.
That's true, and so that's a
So-
hill you're willing to down? You're willing to down the hill of a driver's
I think
license?
that might be a hill I'm willing to die on, Shay. I say that. I haven't been put in that situation. I say that sitting here in this chair talking to you.
So,
On the side of the road might be a different story
I love you like a brother.
with the blueberries flashing.
I love you like a brother, and if
Mhm.
you call me at 2 o'clock in the morning and say somebody's breaking into your house, I'm gonna come with my guns.
Mm-hmm.
But if you call me from the side of the road saying they got the gang here you on your own on that one, bro. Because you got to pick your battles.
You gotta pick your battle, Shay. Then,
that's
but
a-
the question is, when do people stand up for what you believe is right? When do you say, okay, fuck, we finna
That's a
sit
great
we finna
question.
sit in slavery for another 400 years?
That's a
'Cause
great
I'm not
question.
willing to die for this.
But I think it's
We finna allow the Germans to come in and just kill all the Jews because
It's
I don't think that's right.
it's
You
a
know,
big stretch from required to have a driver's license to
I just want
Holocaust.
to be a free citizen, Shay. I'm minding my business. I'm
Okay.
not hurting nobody. Now, when do you say give me liberty or give me death?
not over a driver's
What if I
license.
look at the driver's license like you taking my liberty
Because here's
away
the
from
thing.
me?
Well, you can look at it
You're
like
taking
that.
my freedom away
But
from me.
nobody's saying that you can't drive. They're
Mhm.
saying you have to go through this
Why?
very small inconvenience.
You call it a small inconvenience. It might not be a small inconvenience for me. I might feel like it's fucking they putting a squeeze to me and they
You might
just
feel like
taxing me
that.
another
and,
way.
And you're gonna
And I'm tired
you
of it.
will die on that hill. You will die on that hill. And if I'm going down a hill, it's going to be a shitload more important than a driver's license. I'm just going to tell you that now. Now you come to take my kids, that's a hill I'll die on. That's
All
a
day
whole
long.
other story. I'm going to die on that
Because
hill.
you say I can't put because
But
I don't want to put my kids in
I
your
gotta go
public
sit-
school system.
I got to go sit down at the DMV for an hour and pay you $50 or whatever it costs for a driver's license. I may not like it, but I ain't going to die on that hill. That's not a hill I'm going to die on. No matter how strongly I may feel that, and I don't feel, by the way, that that's an imposition. I do feel like that we should have a driver's. We had this conversation before.
Yeah, it comes back to
giving it to
just
that
how
is-
free are you?
Yeah.
How free are you, Shane? How free are you willing to be? They say we the land of the free, home of the brave, but
Sure.
it sounds like we the land of the fee, home of the slave.
On a lot of issues, I agree with you, but not driver's license.
Okay.
I don't agree on that.
That's just where we had to just
Yeah. And the great thing about
respectfully disagree.
respectfully disagree. That's the thing
Look,
about.
boss man telling us to cut it.
He's been saying it for a minute. He said it a minute ago, and I just looked away.
I act like I didn't see him too.
You know what? I keep touching the microphone. I know better than to do that. You know, I have had a tough month, as I mentioned. I've had a tough month, and today it's kind of culminated a little bit. I don't know why. You know how sometimes it just kind of gets you. But I came down here for the fellowship, but I also came down here to learn something,
Okay, Shane. You know, like
and I feel like I have.
I'm glad you feel like you have, Shane.
I definitely feel like I.
So, like-
I feel like I always do.
I try to be a man of constantly learning. Try to be a man of stoicism.
Stoicism.
I try to be a man of wisdom, you know, and we all said that wisdom is having the knowledge and experience and applying it.
There you go.
You know, ain't no point in having knowledge if you're not even using it.
True.
So
And knowledge in and of itself is not wisdom.
right,
Knowledge plus experience.
plus experience with application.
With
I'm gonna throw
application.
another one with
Yeah.
application.
Yeah.
You got to be using it. I can know that's not right, but still do wrong. Damn, did I say that right?
No, I think you did.
Okay.
I'm
yeah.
just contemplating.
I'm saying you have to apply what I learned. I learned, man, if I keep touching that stove, it's gonna burn me. I
Right.
know it, but damn, I can't stop touching that
But
stove.
if you still touch it,
It hurts so good. It burns so.
It burns so
it
good.
burns so good. Shane.
but if you
Like,
still
damn.
touch the stove, did you still have wisdom and you chose not to apply it, or is it only wisdom if you choose to apply it?
I think you have to use it. Knowledge is, they say knowledge is power. It's not power unless you're using it. I can sit
That's
on it.
true.
I can have it in my
I
head
agree
all
with
I
that.
want. What power am I giving it? Just sitting on my hands. You
I
get
agree
what-
with that. Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I think knowledge is knowledge. Knowledge plus experience is wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
and wisdom plus application is power.
Is the power.
That's how I would say it.
How you start to unpack it a little bit more.
Wisdom plus application is power.
So I heard something. So, this is a quote from Aristotle, Shane.
Oh, okay.
It's an Aristotle quote.
Going back to Greek philosophy.
Greek philosophy,
Okay.
Shane. And I can't wait till the day where I start to make up my own shit. You know what I'm saying? This is, I might even be a quote right there. Make up your own shit.
Make up your own shit.
I can't wait till the day to make up my own shit. I don't know, Shane. But Aristotle said, you are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought be a habit, not an act. And I want to apply that to your life, Shane. You are what you repeatedly do. And excellence ought not be a habit, but an act.
Excellence ought not be an act, but a habit.
Act, but a habit. Yeah. Ought not be habit, not an act. Let's read it all over.
Say it again.
Excellence, Aristotle said, you are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought to be habit, not act. So I think you are practicing excellence, Shane, when you hit that grind and you hit that hustle, even if you're not seeing the results, even when you're getting rained out, you are practicing excellence because you still repeatedly doing what you have to get done. Discipline, I said last week, is doing what needs to be done, even if you don't want to do it. So not only are you practicing discipline, you're also practicing excellence. And with that, Malin sees that. Malin catch you practicing discipline and excellence every day. She see you get up and pack that van. Every day she see you pull up to an event, unpack that van. Every day she see you pull up, pack that van back up. Whether you had a good or bad day.
Patterns.
She said excellence when she looks at you. And everyone around you see excellence when they look at you. So that's what I want to leave you with today, Shane.
That's very kind.
You're excellent, bro.
Thank you, sir. I feel the same about you. And I needed that today.
There it is.
That's a good place to leave.
Yeah, I think so.
This is Vineyard Chronicles.
In the Chronicles.
Peace.
Hey. Amazing.
Pulling out the Aristotle on us.
Aristotle, Shane.
Man.
You ever studied Greek mythology?
No.
Me neither.
I ain't been that smart, Shane.
A little bit of I've read some of Plato.
That was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, when Q was saying that, so I was thinking of Madeline, and I was like, you know what? Q's right. Even at any age, especially the age she's at now, she may not understand the full magnitude of what you're doing, but she sees she can see the pattern.
She ain't gonna catch me sleeping.
Right.
That's for sure. She ain't gonna catch me sleeping.
She see the patterns.
It's one of the things I think that's so important about having kids is because sometimes, you've got something to be accountable to. Like, I'm accountable to you all for coming down here. And I don't want to say I really gave it serious thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was coming. But there was a part of me that was like, man, I just don't even want to be around people today.
But that was really transparent. A few weeks ago, and I didn't realize it until Shane really pointed out, I guess Memorial Day. I didn't even think, like, are we going to have it? Like, while we was going, I was like, we got to hurry up because we have the podcast today.
It never.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point.
It's just, and I think Suzanne just told me about Leilani's birthday right before like a few hours before we.
Today.
Yeah, today. She told me about it today, yeah. So I was like, well, if Q reschedules, that definitely makes sense.
And you know what? I knew today was Leilani's birthday, and it never occurred to me that you weren't coming.
Right.
Never even thought,
The thought crossed my mind.
We spoke about it yesterday. We all
it is a
spoke
birthday,
yesterday.
and I had her out earlier. She's like, I want to go to Bridge Street too, Dad, because I was like, man, I got my podcast.
Should have brought her down there.
She had her friend. I still had it. Like,
It's
Cynthia
her
don't
birthday,
get home
she-
time till 6 o'clock. So
Okay.
she's at home with the kids until
Okay.
Cynthia gets home.
Oh wow! I didn't know
Anyway,
that.
you know
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So she keeps Enzo. She stays with Enzo and Ezra by herself. Leilani does.
Yeah, it's like I leave the house at 5:30.
Yeah.
She only got an hour at
Yeah.
most.
Oh,
with-
yeah.
by herself.
Yeah.
She only gonna be there an hour.
And she's not gonna let some emergency happen. She can change
Correct.
diapers and what
Yeah.
have you. Yeah.
That's still,
And she's certainly-
a lot. That's awesome.
She's still certainly responsible enough
Mhm,
to to know when she needs to call somebody. Like if something went down, whatever,
Mhm.
the stove catches on fire, whatever,
Right.
whatever it might be. She would be responsible enough at minimum to get the boys out in the backyard. If the house burned up,
Mhm.
worst case scenario or whatever. Not to open the door for strangers or.
I just remember. Next one. If y'all can remind me, I'll set a reminder. Creekware. He launched the website today.
Creekware. We gotta plug them again.
Creek.
You
Quick wear.
You said it too many times. You want to record a couple real quick? You got time?
We still got the one, don't we?
Quick wear.
Oh, this thing stay recording. Oh yeah, it's still going.
It's still recording. Peace.